Craig, Chelsea deserved this.
They did, and I don't think City were dreaming about a quadruple, Dan, to be honest with you. I think it's people like us, or you, more importantly, and others, who just want to drab on about quadruples, because let's be honest about it. They're playing the Carabao Cup next week. They're playing the FA. If they played in the FA Cup final and won it, so what? The only headlines that are going to come about here is if they don't win the Champions League this year, right? And the two trophies that he wanted to wrestle away were, the first one was from Liverpool and the second one was from Bayern Munich. Now, they have that opportunity, but that's the most important thing. So I think that was prevalent in his team selection. Again, what he was saying was, I really don't want to risk some of these players that have been so good for me, like Foden, like Gundogan, like Riyad Mahrez. And so I think that told a story. And you're absolutely right. I thought Chelsea deserved it. I thought City didn't do enough. But when you make those changes, that just tells me, look, priorities here. Priority, Premier League title, Champions League. That being said, though, it was still a disappointing performance. And you wondered in the week why Raheem Sterling wasn't playing in the Champions League against Dortmund. There you have it, in a nutshell.
Yeah, Raheem Sterling had a shocker. A number of those players, Shaka, you think maybe will be looking to knock on the door for those big games that are still to come for Manchester City. No one stood up today at all. It was a really lethargic performance for much of this game.
Yeah, it really was, and that's a big surprise. All season long, we've been talking about Manchester City, and regardless of who Pep Guardiola calls on, regardless of what formation he uses, whether it's with a striker or false nine, whether it's Aguero or Jesus, the one thing we've not been able to say about City is that they've been pedestrian. They've always seemed up for it. The changes and the rotations have been flawless. But for 90 minutes against Chelsea, I don't think I've seen Manchester City anytime recently look as lethargic, look as slow as they did today. And credit Chelsea for forcing them into just not being able to play their own game. But without question, the better team won this semi-final.
City going to be okay going forward, Craig, rediscovering that form with their proper 11?
I don't know, Dan, because as I said to you in the last couple of days, I really think at the moment, full strength to full strength, that PSG will be a big problem for them. So I don't know, and this is the big question. This is why I'm saying, yeah, we love the FA Cup, all us boys, and most of the boys in the show that played in England, we all played in numerous amounts of these FA Cup games and finals and whatnot. But we understand that in the recent climate, it's sort of diminishing a little bit in terms of its priority. However, the Champions League is the one, and I think if you produce a performance like that over even 90 minutes, never mind 180 minutes against PSG, the chances are you're going to go out. So, look, this is still the question. It's not whether City will win the FA Cup or the quadruple for me. It's whether they win the Champions League. That's the holy grail for them. It's the holy grail for PSG. It's why the money gets piled in. Yes, the FA Cup would be good to have on the CV again, and we know Chelsea, my old club, have got a very good record in this competition, particularly in the last 20 to 25 years. But ultimately, if you gave any of these two clubs a choice, and they're both still in the Champions League semi-finals, they would say that competition. The difference is, for Thomas Tuchel, if he gets to a final of the Champions League, or if they win it, and you can never rule it out because they did the same back in, I think it was 2011, that's just a huge bonus for him. If he doesn't, and they get knocked out by Real Madrid, and that's what the bookies are saying, nobody will bat an eyelid. The problem is, for Pep Guardiola, is they absolutely has to deliver this competition.
What was Zack Steffen doing, Shaq?
I really don't know. It just seemed really odd. From a goalkeeper who, let's be honest, hasn't played regularly, but when he's been called on, he's been solid without being spectacular. This was just odd for a goalkeeper who I describe as solid. You just do the basics, do them well. Don't try to win games, but coming off his line as he did, I find it hard to explain, given how he's played for when he has played for Manchester City.
Obviously, we talked a lot about Manchester City, but Chelsea have got this way at the moment, Craig. Have just been able to get it done, with the exception of that shock West Brom defeat. Everything's going right for Tuchel at the moment. Yeah,
and look, you have to give him credit for that, because I don't think they would be in the scenarios that they're in if Frank Lampard had still been in charge. Because we know he's not got the experience. He played a different way. Defensively, they were more open. And he's pretty much set it out from the minute he came in. This way of playing, this system that he plays, has been what he has used from day one, right? And apart from the odd wobble, I think a couple of times West Brom been won, it's been pretty damn good. And so whilst it hasn't always delivered the free-flowing, attacking football that maybe Chelsea fans would want, it's got a balance about it, and it's getting the job done. So he has to be absolutely delighted, and that's why this Chelsea side will be a threat for Real Madrid over the two legs, purely because on the day under this manager with this personnel, they could be as stubborn defensively as anybody and still have a threat going forward. So he has to be extremely happy with the response he's got from that squad since taking over from Lampard.
And in this competition, Chelsea got to be big favourites now, Shaq.
Yeah, without question. Given what you saw from them today against Manchester City, given who's playing in the other semi-final tomorrow, Chelsea right now are favourites regardless of who wins between Leicester and Southampton. And in all honesty, For all our criticisms around Manchester City, I thought Chelsea played really well today. That back three that he continues to use, the wing backs that he employs and how he employs them, the work that they have to get through is simply phenomenal. And then you have Kante and Jorginho sitting in the middle of the park. They invited the pressure from City and were able to pass their way out to the back time and time again, and looked really comfortable in doing that in a way that I don't think I'd seen anybody do against Manchester City as comfortably over 90 minutes for quite some time. Credit to Thomas Tuchel and what he's done. Chelsea are looking fantastic. Well, they certainly had a great performance today against City.
Oh, Shaq, you're very excited about Chelsea. They're not that pretty to watch, though, are they, Shaq?
I thought they were really good, Dan. I really do.
No, they're good, but like from a football fan's point of view, they don't get you that excited. Oh, Chelsea are playing today. We've got to go and watch them.
Yeah, I think because they're still missing, you're still not quite sure who their front three is going to be, and far too often, many in that front three are misfiring. But if they had three strikers who, you knew what you were going to get out of them, I think this team would be as good as we've seen certainly from Chelsea for quite some time. That's the only flaw for me, that uncertainty around who that front three or front four may be.
I tell you what they do though, Dan. They manage games for the most part particularly well. They managed the games against Atletico Madrid well. They pretty much managed that super game against Porto that Shaka was subdued to. that we know he didn't watch because he watched the other game really, but that's another story. But he gave it away. He did. Not for the first time. And I would have done the same thing, to be fair, Shaq. But they manage games particularly well. And listen, if Chelsea win the FA Cup, and you're right, they will be, Leicester get there. It's going to be a tight one, but, they probably would edge it as favourites. If they win that and get in the top four, trust me, Thomas Tuchel can do cartwheels down the West End Road outside of Chelsea, because that would be a real job done since coming in. On the other side of the coin, if Guardiola gets the Premier League and the Champions League, he's in a similar scenario. So I think it would be everyone would be happy with that sort of scenario at the end of the season. But they've just managed games since he's come in particularly well. But you're right. They're not the most exciting team, but that's when Abramovich hired them. He said, "I want you to be super exciting, but I don't care if you get in the top four or win anything." But I don't think that was the conversation that they had.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.